Steven.
Kevin.
David.
With our powers combined, we are the
Brothers
Born.
By the power of podcasting,
We have the power. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Brothers Born podcast. Steven and I are here today. We've got some possible controversial topic today. Not really, but
We're talking about global warming.
um, no, we're not. We're actually
Talking
gonna
about
talk about
capital
movies.
punishment.
Capital punishment via global warming.
How would that work?
I don't
Like,
know.
like walk the plank on the melting polar ice caps or something? I don't know.
Something I have no idea. So no, we're talking about some movies, specifically sequels. Even more specifically, we're going to talk about that rare situation where the sequel or prequel is actually better than the first film.
Ah, that is an interesting idea. Because typically, like the first movie's the best, Like usually that's how it goes. And then they try real hard with the second one, but like a good example, Gremlins, fantastic movie. Gremlins 2, terrible movie.
Yeah,
So
Gremlins 2 was definitely terrible.
that's a good example of that. But like you said, there is an occasion where the opposite happens and the sequel is better.
Now, I think we should start this off with one of the most obvious ones, um, Terminator.
Terminator, yes, I would
So
agree.
I think most people, I'm inclined to think that pretty much everybody who's seen the Terminator movies can agree that although the first Terminator movie was incredibly good, the second one really is the best of that entire series of movies.
I would agree with that as well. I recently watched a couple of these. I've not seen any of the new ones like Genesis or whatever, but from what I could tell, they look pretty bad. But yeah, Terminator 1, it's a classic. It's always going to have a special place in my heart. But Terminator 2 does have this like I don't know. It's just good, dude. Like, and it was interesting because Arnold was kind of hesitant, I think, to be a hero, but then he was because the whole part of the whole thing. Him and John Connor like don't kill anyone, don't kill that guy. He's like okay. Whereas in the first one, Arnold's killing everybody. But uh, yeah, it took a little bit of a risk there by taking the macho Arnold guy and making him the good guy. But I think it paid off big time.
Yeah, no, it worked. And what I think was cool about it is not just because, oh, look, now he's a good guy. They would have just done that. I would have been like, okay, whatever. But, it had a lot of like themes of like, fatherhood in it and then like, you know, sort of family relationships and really kind of driving, the importance of why humanity should still live rather than get
Yeah,
wiped out by the machines. And just, I don't know, it's just a really good movie. Like yeah, it's kind of a dumb chasing action film, but when we really get into it, it's actually very, very good. Has a lot of those cool themes to it.
and like as much as John Connor, what that wait, who's his dad? How's that work again? Remind
Kyle
me.
Reese is his dad.
Kyle Reese. As much as Kyle Reese wanted to be there for him, he couldn't be. So he's like, I'm going to send this macho robot uh to take care of my son. Or no, John Connor sends the robot himself, right? Is that
Yeah, yeah.
okay? So yeah, Kyle Reese wasn't really there for John Connor, but what the T what's his model number? The T1
E 800.
T800 was. He filled the void of the absent father.
Yeah, and they make a whole thing about it. It was just so good. And then, of course, you had the T-1000. He was one of the coolest movie villains, I think.
If someone ever pulls me over and they show me a picture and ask me if I've seen this boy, dude, it's over. I'm like, man, that's not how I want to go. But I know what's happening. If that ever happens, some guy in a motorcycle, a cop. I've never been pulled over by a motorcycle cop before, but if I am, I initially that's gonna be my first. That's where my mind's gonna go. Oh no, is this the T1000? As he walks up and he pulls the gun out of his pocket. Oh no, this is it. Have you seen this boy? No, I'm done. I'm just done so.
Like Wayne's World.
Yeah, but
It's just like draw.
but
So yeah,
it, and then I'll be honest, I Terminator 3 gets a lot of hate. I liked it. It's not as good as Terminator 2 or Terminator 1, but I think it's better than the other Terminators.
I,
Terminator
I will say it's
Salvation had a lot of potential, but it wasn't good. But
see Terminator 3 and Terminator Salvation. So I do have thoughts on it. Terminator 3, yeah, maybe it wasn't the greatest movie, but what I did like about Terminator 3, the one thing I think they did very, very well was they ended the movie with the machines taking over.
yeah,
Like like they had the
they didn't
nuclear
stop Judgment
bombs.
Day. They just postponed
Yeah,
it.
yeah, like they actually had Judgment Day take place on it. And I thought that was it wasn't a direction I was expecting at the time. And there's a lot of things about that movie that aren't so great, but I did think that that ending was pretty good, pretty interesting. Um, Terminator Salvation, I like Terminator Salvation, but I could have done without the weird robot human hybrid dude.
Yeah, that's weird. And like, just I don't know.
If they didn't have him in there, it would have been good. But I
No,
think he
it's been
kind
a
of
while
ruined
since
it.
I've seen that movie, but I did in the movie. Do you see him send back Kyle Reese and then the Terminator from?
No,
Okay,
no, you
I think it
don't.
would have been interesting to see that, like what situations in the future caused him to do that. Like, and I think it would have been kind of cool. I think it had a lot of potential that they just didn't tap into it the
Yeah,
way it could have been. But that's not. We're not talking about bad sequels, though, right? We're talking about good sequels. Terminator 2, hands down, better than Terminator 1, but still, Terminator 1 is still good. But yeah, 2 is better. Um, let's go a completely different direction. And you probably don't have very many thoughts on this one because I know you hate this franchise. But I do think I want to note it, and that Frozen 2 is much better than Frozen 1. Personally, that's how I feel.
I I did not see Frozen 2, so I cannot agree or disagree with you on this.
It's okay. Let me tell you why I think Frozen 2 is better. Um, this is unpopular. I don't know. Frozen 2 has like more of a whimsical fantasy element to it that I really enjoy. It felt like a D&D campaign to me, to be honest. I think that's why I liked it more than the first one. And there's a really cool song. It's sort of have like an 80s rock vibe. And actually Weezer does, you know how every Disney movie they have some actual artist sing the song for the movie for the credits. Weezer did the 80s rock song one, and I really enjoyed that as well. And I liked it because it's just the music was better and like I really enjoyed the music and it just had a better to me it felt more like a just a better storyline. I don't know, Frozen 2 probably for me better than Frozen 1.
I
And I have no Frozen 3s on the pipeline coming down. It's on its way. It's defrosting as we speak, but I don't know how that
unfortunately.
one's going to be. But Frozen 2 was actually decent. I would watch that one again.
Well, I like I said, I haven't seen Frozen 2, but I've heard other people have say the same thing that it was a better movie than Frozen 1, which I don't know.
I know you don't like Frozen, and that's fine. I
Frozen is
respect
stupid.
that.
I hate that movie so much. Um,
I don't love it, but it's fine. I'm cool watching Frozen 2 again. I mean, if it was on, I'm like, oh, cool, Frozen 2. Frozen 1, I'm like, ah, let it go. You know, I don't want to see Frozen 1. Uh,
yeah, yeah, I got you.
did you catch my little?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay,
I caught it. I caught
good.
it.
You didn't really laugh, so I
No,
wasn't
I
sure if
didn't.
you.
I
Uh,
don't know that that would be necessary in any way controversial take. I think most people who at least I've talked to say that Frozen 2 is better.
well, I
I do,
think
however,
Terminator 2 was not really controversial either. Like,
no,
I think a
no,
lot of the
that
ones we're going to discuss today are not controversial, but there will be some that are.
yes, and I'm going to bring one up right now.
Yes.
Um, I think that the second Tron movie is actually better than the first one.
Really?
Yes. I mean, a lot of it has to do because it is more updated. You know, the old Tron movie was, I mean, it's old, you know, like
Yeah.
visually speaking. The second one looks better visually speaking. That's part of it. But I also think it's just, I don't know, like it's less boring to me. I guess is the only way I can put it. If the first Tron movie is great, but it kind of drags on and gets kind of boring and it doesn't have a good pacing. Whereas I
Yeah,
think the second one does have a decent pacing. And the soundtrack is completely done by Daft Punk, so that's cool.
yeah, that's cool. I gotta be honest with you. I think Tron as a whole is kind of a forgettable thing.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I mean you're not wrong.
like when was the last time you heard anyone talk about Tron? Like, other than you? Like, no one talks about Tron anymore, which is
I,
a bummer because it's a cool thing, but it just, I don't know. It's just, I don't think it's a hot topic, except for the Tron ride at Disney World. Apparently, is one of the coolest rides ever. But I don't really hear people talk about the movies that much. But
yeah,
maybe it's because it's been a while. I mean, that sequel came out, what, like 10, 12 years ago, probably something like
yeah,
that.
and then there was a cartoon for a while, which was very good, but it only lasted one season and ended on a cliffhanger. So of course we're never gonna know what
Oh
happened.
yeah, I
But
think I don't know for sure. I haven't looked this up. Is there a Tron 3 in the works? I bet there
not
is,
as far as I know, there is not.
or some sort of Tron reboot. I feel like that's something that Disney will take advantage of for sure. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen either one of those. I remember liking them both. I remember thinking just the concept was cool, but I couldn't. I don't know that I could really uh, declare one is better than the other. Certainly, the second one looks better. Though Tron 1, and for its time, was pretty awesome. It was pretty
Dude, if
groundbreaking.
you yeah, you should sometime look up how that movie was made. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Like the amount of work that got put into that movie. Because the first Tron movie is essentially the very first movie to ever use any sort of computer generated image in it, like as a background.
It looks very I mean, it looks pretty 80s, but that's cool
Yeah,
though.
it very much is. Um, but yeah, no, look up how that movie was made sometime. It's pretty crazy.
Um, I will. I'm actually gonna go to Disney World here in a couple months, I think, and I'm gonna ride that Tron ride. I'm very pumped for it, actually. I think it's gonna be great. Um, all right. I don't know if this is controversial or not, but Toy Story 3, awesome. All the Toy Stories are good. I like all of them, but Toy Story 3 better than Toy Story 1 or 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's actually I've heard a lot of people say that actually. I
I
think it's
like,
pretty common to say that Toy Story 3 is the best Toy Story movie. I don't know that I agree with that.
yeah.
I kind of inclined to think the first one was the best one.
First one is classic, and that's like that was like the first big Pixar film as far as I remember. But I'll, it's
Two between the four of them, two is I think
it's the
my least
weakest.
favorite.
It's the
Yeah, it's the
weakest. It has
weakest
some
one.
funny moments, but it's the weakest of the films. Now, let's go first step further. Toy Story 4. Actually, I was skeptical when I went to go see that. I'm like, this is gonna be another Toy Story film. Are you serious? It was actually great. I loved it. It was awesome. And I think it's for me, the order is probably like 3, 4, 1, 2, maybe 3, 1, 4, 2. I don't know. 4 and 1 go back and forth, but it was awesome. And Keanu Reeves playing uh Doom Kaboom, whatever that guy's name is. I think it was funny, and I really enjoyed it. And I was surprised by how 'cause Toy Story 3 has such an ending. It's like a like a franchise
Yeah,
ending. So I was
wasn't sure how
surprised
they
when
were
it,
gonna do that.
yeah. So I was really surprised when they came out with the fourth one, but they pulled it off, I think, pretty well. And so I enjoyed it. Even Forky, I was like, this is stupid, but he was funny. I don't know. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's your next one, bro?
Um, let's go into the realm of prequel.
Prequel.
Yes.
Prequels, huh? All right.
Um, so I know you agree with me on this one. Prey,
Prey.
the prequel to the Predator movies.
Yes.
The
I would
best Predator movie of all of them is Prey.
I do agree. I feel bad saying that because I love the first one so much, but Prey was just too good, dude. It was like it was a beautiful film. Aside from the fact that it was a cool action sequences fighting the Predator, it was a very stunning like movie. The cinematography, the wet like the Western US at the time, like the way they captured that, it was just very pretty. It was a very pretty movie. And yeah, it was awesome. I like the way she fought the Predator in it, and uh it was pretty dope movie for sure. And
It was just cool kind of seeing a, you know, Predator movie take place in that time period. And then like on top of that, um, they actually used like, you know, Native American actors and spoke Native American languages.
Yeah,
Like it was very well done. Um, so much better than the other Predator movies.
it was definitely a fresh take. Like I recently watched all the Predator movies and all the Alien movies, and I'm trying to go through all of them. Next is Blade Runner, but uh, when I watched the Predator films, like Predator 2, bad movie. Predators was okay. The Predator, which came out in like 2018, I think, that was like dumb. It had some cool elements, but it was just overall a pretty bad film. But and of course, Predator's amazing, but Prey was just I like that they took something different. They didn't do with some modern soldiers fighting it. I like that they went back and did some like here's this person with very primitive weapons fighting a predator and she still takes it down, which so I can declare we haven't done an unlikely throwdown about this, but Naru, I think, could take down Dutch, honestly. If she could take down the predator with those weapons she had compared to his all his stuff he had. Of course, their approach at the end is kind of similar. You know, they did a little more hand to hand kind of stuff, but yeah, I thought Prey was great. Um, I want to see more of that kind of thing coming from the franchise. Uh, really enjoyed it, and I love that they connected it to Predator 2 with the musket, whatever
Oh, with the pistol.
the pistol. I thought that was kind of cool. Even though I didn't like Predator 2, I do like that last scene where Danny Glover sees all the predators in the ship, and that was kind of a cool way to kind of button it all together. Yeah, Prey definitely was better than Predator. I think everyone would agree with us saying Prey's better than Predator 2, Predators, or The Predator. But I do think that we might be having a hot take here saying it's better than the original. But yeah, it is for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so this one gets a little complicated because we're dealing with sequels, prequels, trequels. It's all over the place. Um, I want to dive a little bit into Star Wars here. Now, the
Ah,
first one that was released, A New Hope. Okay. So I think, and I think most people think, I know you disagree with me, but most people agree with me. Why? Sorry, balloons just went through my screen. I don't know why.
that was weird. Okay, go.
But most people agree with me in saying The Empire Strikes Back is better than A New Hope. A New Hope's a great film, but Empire Strikes Back is like a perfect Star Wars movie. So that's a take that I know you disagree with, but I think as a general rule, the Star Wars population agrees with me there. But
You you are correct on that because speak and I'll get into a Star Wars sequel that's better than the original in a minute. But to me, when you get the original trilogy, The New Hope really is the best one.
oh, see,
It
I
just
don't
is.
know.
I'm sorry, but it is. I mean, because it like introduces the whole galaxy to us. You know, you really get to kind of it's like the beginning. It really follows closes the hero's journey. I think it's just the best one. I mean, it's my
I
favorite one.
I'm not trying to devalue A New Hope. That is a great movie. Like The Empire Strikes Back couldn't exist without A New Hope. But I think just I enjoy Empire Strikes Back more when I watch it. Like 'cause you get like the Hoth stuff, the big I am your father reveal, and it's just like a lot of narrative things happen in Empire Strikes Back that just are awesome. And like it looks cool and I don't know, but I really enjoy it. Then we go to Return of the Jedi, and that's like not that great. It's the worst of the three of the original three.
You're not wrong there. I actually think that actually like Revenge of the Sith better than Return of the Jedi.
And that goes to my next thing. So I don't know if we're doing this, but the prequels, like episode one, two, and three, not as strong as the original trilogy. We can both agree with that. But I do think A Phantom Menace is better than Return of the Jedi. So we're dealing with a 9 movie, 10 movie, 11 movie franchise here. So it it's hard to like where's like
Yeah.
sometimes the sequel's better, sometimes the prequel's better. It's hard to like dial down on
Overall,
this, but
overall I think, and I guess you could argue that it's not the best from a variety of reasons, but for me, my favorite of all of them would have to be Rogue One.
oh, I agree with you 100%. It's not, but that doesn't have, it's not a sequel. It's just like its own thing.
It's a prequel.
I suppose you're right there. Yeah. But Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars movie as well. I like it because it doesn't focus on the Jedi. It's just about this group of like rebels, and I really,
You know what I like about Rogue One, and it's a small detail, but it's what separates it from the other movies in a lot of ways, is when you look at like the soldiers and even the stormtroopers and their equipment. In Rogue One, it appeared more like run down. The soldiers themselves just have like this sort of air and attitude to them. It's more realistic to what a real military campaign would look like.
yeah, I think I would agree with you there. I mean, I'm not in the military, you are, but it seems that way to me. Um, and like, let's be real. Like before that movie, everyone's talking about how bad Darth Vader was. And I suppose if you go back in time to Revenge of the Sith, you could see how bad he is. But you don't really see him in action that much until Rogue One when he busts up all those stormtroopers in
Yeah.
that hallway. That is one of the coolest sequences in a Star Wars movie ever. And like you really see, man, this dude is he's savage, man. I guess Revenge of the Sith is when you really see him when he go up what's that thing called? Route 66? No. I'm
Order
forgetting.
66.
Order 66.
Get your kicks. Order 66.
So you really see how oh, that's funny. But you see how bad he is when he, kills all the younglings or whatever. But you don't, I think they didn't want to depict that in the film because a lot of families were seeing these. But in Rogue One, you see him kill all these stormtroopers. It's like, man, this dude is seriously a bad dude. And it's just, that was really cool. I love that scene. And the way it ties in at the very end, you see, I know it's CGI because I think she had passed away maybe, or can't remember. But you see Carrie Fisher and it just leads right into A New Hope. Like that's super cool. It was just a great film. I really enjoyed it. I would watch that again. I like all the Star Wars movies. There's not one I really don't like, but that one
uh,
is the best.
I don't know. The last one I don't care for.
It's all right. It has cool elements, but yeah, but I think it's a good example of another one. I don't think that's a hot take when we say the newest trilogy is the not its weakest. It's probably the weakest of all of them.
Yeah, it's weaker than the
And
prequels.
and I
I
think generally speaking, most people would agree with us on that. Maybe not like kids, but like
Yeah, no, generally speaking, I think you're right. We could probably do a whole episode on why those movies just don't quite hit right.
yeah. But
Maybe we should do an episode on why those movies don't quite hit right. But
let's
that's not this episode.
let's
So,
let's take a break and think about it for a minute. And sound like a plan?
sure.
All right.
A wise man once said, "Cash rules everything around me. It's all about the money. Dollar dollar bills, y'all." Now, the Brothers Born are definitely not part of the Wu-Tang Clan. But the sentiment, well, it's still true. When it comes down to it, making content that we do can have some costs when it comes to equipment and certain fees. This is where you come in as a listener. No obligation here, but if you do like what we have and you would like to contribute a little bit of funds our way so we can improve our content, there's 3 different tiers of payment which you can use. The first one is a simple, cheap tier of 99 cents. Not too bad. Next tier would be $4.99, or if you're straight balling, $9.99 for the third tier. Now, there's no obligation here. We're going to do the content either way, but we definitely would appreciate a little help. Thank you in advance, and we look forward to providing more content for you.
All right. Yeah, I thought about it. We should save that for another episode. What do you
Yeah,
think?
for sure. Yeah, for
Okay,
sure,
cool.
for sure.
Yeah, okay, good, good,
I
good.
agree.
All right, give me another one.
Um, I'm having a hard time thinking of a movie right now. Uh, I know we said movies, but I think we could also kind of go into like books and video games a little bit. Although I have to admit, I can't think of a single video game where the first is better than the sequel,
Uh,
except for Breath of the Wild. I will contend is better than Tears of the Kingdom, but that's that's
and
the only one I can think of.
it's kind of like with Zelda, you're kind of dealing with a Star Wars situation, though. Like the first Zelda game is better than the second Zelda game, but like, but for it's such a bit. There's like I don't know how many games there are. There's tons of them, so it's like hard to if you break it down by like system or era, I guess you could say. Then I think we could dial in on that more. But yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Um,
but overall, you can't really do it with video games because each usually. Well, I don't know. I haven't played like I've heard that some of the um, like God of War games, Assassin's Creed games. I haven't played any of those, and I've heard that some of their sequels are not quite as good as the originals. But for the most part, I think in video games, typically, I think the sequels end up being better.
Street Fighter 2 better than Street Fighter 1. That's like
That's what
another.
I'm.
Yeah, that's what you just said. Never mind.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Um, there's got to be one out there. Let me think about this for a second. Oh yeah, I know it's a remake, so I don't know if it really counts, but the remake of Resident Evil 1 is better than normal Resident Evil 2, but it's a
Yeah,
remake. So
remake's a
remakes,
whole
that's
different
different.
thing now.
That's a whole other thing.
That's
Yeah.
that's a whole nother topic. I thought about including that in this as well, but I was like, we could really probably do a whole episode on remakes because there are some that just really really good compared to the original ones and vice versa. So
I, I do have a couple more movies if you
yeah, yeah,
if
hit me up
all
because
right.
I think for a minute for one.
Thor Ragnarok better than Thor 2 and Thor 1
Yes,
for sure, but not better than Thor 4. That Thor 4 was not a good movie, but Thor
yeah, that
Ragnarok is better than the first two. Um, I think most people agree with me on that one, but I think it's but some people really like Thor 4. I didn't really care for it too much.
I didn't care for it either.
I didn't I don't want to discuss these because it's been so long since I've watched them, but I do want to list them based on like my memory and what people talk about. A lot of people say Godfather 2 is better than Godfather 1. Wrath of Khan is better than the first Star Trek movie. Uh, I was talking about this with Dad, and he doesn't remember the order of them. Maybe you could shed some light on this, but The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is technically a sequel, isn't it?
Yes, Good, Bad, and the Ugly is the third one.
That's the third one. So I haven't seen the other ones, but uh, so I guess I can't really comment on it. You've watched them
I
all.
I
What
will
do you
say
think?
I watched all of them. I will say, well, I don't know, because it kind of makes sense. Because in the Good, Bad, and the Ugly, like it came out third, and I think it's considered the third one. But at the same time, it kind of to me comes off as being like the first in this series, like chronologically speaking.
Okay, I have to watch them to really know. I don't
But
know.
I don't know. But it is good between regardless. The first was for a fistful of dollars,
Okay, and a few dollars
and
more, right?
yeah, and then Good, Bad, and the Ugly was the third one that was made, and yeah, I think of the three, it is the best one for sure.
Um, Another one, I think people would agree with me on this one too. The Dark Knight is better than Batman Begins. Though Batman Begins is an excellent film, The Dark Knight is like that's like of the Christopher Nolan trilogy, that's like the movie, like Heath Ledger's Joker, which that's another controversial topic there. Is he better than Jack Nicholson? Who knows? But of those three of the Christopher Nolan trilogy, that movie is better than Batman Begins. However, The Dark Knight Rises is not as good as either of the first two films. Um, so that's another one. I've only seen a couple of these, so I can't say for sure. But Mission Impossible, I think the first one's actually really good. The second one is but I just watched that newest one that came out last year.
Yeah,
Um, that was a sick movie, dude. That movie was so freaking good. And like, it's several movies in now, but I really liked it. And I'm impressed by Tom Cruise's ability to do his own stunts, even at the whatever ripe old age he is. Like, he's a weird dude, but he's a talented dude. I can't dispute that.
I do have a couple. Uh, I not necessarily share the opinion on this one, but I think most people do. Aliens being better than
Oh,
Alien.
I do. I disagree. I disagree
I
there.
mean, I disagree too. I feel like Alien is a better movie, but I know a lot of people do think that Aliens is better, and I can see why they would think that is what I'm getting at.
So, Alien is my favorite movie of all time. Um, I love that film. I recently, like I said, I watched all the Predator movies and all the Alien movies. I completed that task recently within the last year. And Alien, see, you'll disagree with me. A lot of people disagree with me. I really like Prometheus, actually. I don't think it's better than Alien, but I love that movie. I thought it was awesome. But a lot of Alien purists are like, this movie's stupid. And um, I liked Alien Covenant. It wasn't my favorite Alien movie, but it's better than Alien 4 or Alien 3, in my opinion. Um, but I liked them a lot, and but people are on the fence about those ones. I think kind of like you, they share the idea that like this again, the alien purists. They don't want to know where the alien came from. They don't care about
Yeah,
that.
no,
But I
that's
thought they were
exactly what it
sweet.
is for me. That's
If you
exactly what it is for me.
if you can separate that and just look at them as movies, detach yourself from the alien thing. They're awesome movies, man. They're really cool.
I get what you're saying. because admittedly, I mean, I didn't see Prometheus, but like Alien Covenant, that's a big reason why I didn't care for that is because I didn't want to know where the alien came from. Like I feel like it took away the mystery a bit.
Prometheus
Um,
is better than Alien Covenant, and I think you would have liked Alien Covenant more if you had seen Prometheus, but that's just, I don't know, just what I think.
another one, and I think this one actually is probably kind of a popular take. When we're looking at Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire ones,
Oh
Spider-Man
yeah,
2 is
the
better than the first one.
That's the Doc Ock one, right?
Yeah,
That is a good film.
it's better than the first one. And I agree with that. I agree with that. And I can't tell you why I do. I really don't. I think it's because there's more like character development in it than the
Oh
first one.
yeah. That's even compared to the newer Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man 2 really does a lot for Peter Parker's like arc in general. Um, people from what I've read, like a lot of the modern superhero movies, they don't do the characters as much like justice compared to like Sam Raimi did a really good job at developing Peter Parker in those movies. And um it's less so with modern superhero films. Is what I don't know if I share this opinion. It's been a while since I've watched those old Spider-Man films, but a lot of people kind of have that take there. Uh, Speaking of superhero films, we already did Thor Ragnarok, but Logan was way better than either of the like independent Wolverine films. The first one, Wolverine Origins, that's a dumb movie. Um, and
Yeah,
the
it was
second
that
one, I
movie.
forgot what it's called, where Wolverine like, goes to like it's kind of cool because you see him in World War II and his experience, and he like fights like it takes place in Japan, and it's got some cool elements, I guess, but it's still not a great movie. Logan, I don't even like Wolverine that much, but I really liked that film. It kind of ties. It was a nice farewell for Hugh Jackman playing Logan, though he is coming back in Deadpool 3. But it really kind of, and Professor X is in Logan, and his story is really interesting because he's like old and has dementia, and because of his like mental issues, he ends up like killing a bunch of mutants because he has like his brain. He's I don't know, he's crazy powerful. But yeah, I thought Logan was very good, very good. And they decided to go a little edgier too. I think that was the first rated R like superhero film from like Marvel characters, and like so it's a little bit
Aside from
darker.
Deadpool,
Well,
Deadpool.
I think this came out before. Maybe it didn't. Around, I think it came out before Deadpool. Maybe not. But it's I don't know. It was a good story. I enjoyed it, and even for non-Wolverine people, it's still a good movie.
And then you also can't throw in because Blade was rated R. That was like the first Marvel movie.
Okay, fine, whatever. In the modern era of Marvel movies. Of course, I guess technically Logan's part of the old age now, right? Like the old age of Marvel movies. But the 2000s ones, because he's part of like the original X-Men trilogy. And I don't know. The Marvel universe is just getting weird, man. Every single movie that's a Marvel movie can be considered canon now because of this multiverse stuff that they're doing. And I don't know.
Wait, so does that mean like the old Incredible Hulk TV show is therefore
I,
canon?
I guess so, technically. Uh, but
Or Ghost Rider? The Ghost Rider movie's canon now?
I think so. If you really want to crack down on it, because like the whole multiverse, they
Or
like look at Spider-Man.
The Dolph Lundgren Punisher is now canon.
I'm gonna say yes, bro. Like I don't know. I don't work for Kevin Feige, but uh, it seems that way. Like the Spider-Man movie when they had Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield come back, it's like they made it everything possible with the multiverse now. It's like whatever, which is cool that they were able to do that, but also kind of takes away any stakes in any of those movies whatsoever. Like I think that's why part of the reason the movies aren't doing as well now is because like it's just like in the comic books, the heroes can't really die. You know what I mean? Like there's no
Yeah.
real stakes in these films. I still like them, but yeah. And the Marvel universe, that's a whole nother thing. Avengers 1 is better than Avengers 2, but Avengers 3, like the Thanos Endgame and Infinity War, is better than the first two. So that's another one. But there's so many of them of those. They're like worse than Star Wars. There's just so many movies. It's hard to really make this
Yeah, it's true.
comparison there. But well, this was fun. I enjoyed it. I love talking about movies. So, listeners, what do you think? What are some sequels that are better than the originals? If you agree with us on some of our takes, let us know. If you disagree, let us know. I like that we talked about video games for a little bit, but I think we could kind of do a similar approach to this at another time with that. But yeah, this was a good time.
Yes, it was. And yeah, I think maybe we should maybe consider doing some more stuff like this. Maybe look into some remakes, what remakes are better than the originals. Maybe kind of go outside the realm of movies, go into video games we could, or even books.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So we had that discussion earlier that Steve and I have a bit of a disagreement about
yeah.
which Harry Potter book is the best.
Oh yeah, we could definitely dial in on that.
So
That'd be fun.
so
Um,
there's some things we could dive into there.
if you have a topic you want us to discuss, email us, brothersbornpodcast@gmail.com, or you can go check out our website, brothersbornmedia.com, and you can send us stuff that way. We have our Unlikely Throwdowns podcast, so if you have a submission for that, you can send it our way. Or if you just want to, if you have something you want us to discuss here, we'd be open to suggestions as well. You can contact us that way. We're also, of course, on Facebook, and we want to get on other social media platforms, but let's be honest, dude, we're not hip with the times.
No, we're
I
not.
don't know how to Instagram. I don't know how to whatever, all those things. So I'm trying to get with the program. I'm trying to, not show my age and kind of get in more avenues. But currently we are on Facebook. I'm sort of on Twitch, though I haven't done anything in a while, but you could check that out. The best way to communicate with us, of course, is email or our website, though.
Yep. And then our website's really the hub of what we got going on here.
I would agree with that.
We've got a couple of things on there. Should be putting out a new interesting take on what I think about Zelda movie.
Yes,
In our blog. That'll be coming out soon. Yeah, so we got a few things coming up.
Yeah, so check it out. Share us with your friends. That would be the best gift you could give us. But yeah. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll catch up with you next time.
Yes.